Welcome to The Verdict. Kent Myers and Joel Wolgemuth once again bringing you a new edition of The Verdict. We've got a guy today that has a lot to tell us about legal education.
And Joe Harroz is somebody I've known for probably 20 years. He's now dean of the law school. He's come a long way, I can say that, from over the course of his career.
Well, we want to find out today what's going on at the OU College of Law. We've asked Dean Joe Harroz to join us. This will be his third appearance. We're really pleased that he can be with us, and you'll get to meet him again in just a few minutes. You're watching The Verdict.
Alabama remembers us. The Chickasaws lived and hunted here for thousands of years. We governed here, built fine homes, farms, businesses, even joined forces with U.S. soldiers until we were forced west to Indian Territory to start again. In huge murals in Tuscaloosa that depict our history and removal, Alabama remembers us. Through historic sites and stories about Chickasaws along the Natchez Trace, all echo a time when Northwest Alabama was our sweet home. Today, many of us return to touch the earth and trees we once knew so well, and meet Alabamans who lost so much of their own past. When the Chickasaws were removed in the America we share today.
Welcome back. Kent Myers, along with my co-host Joel Wolgemuth, bringing you a good guest today like we always try to do, and we have succeeded this week. I want to introduce a personal friend of mine and my boss at the law school, Dean Joe Harroz. Joe is an OU undergraduate, did his law work at Georgetown University. While at OU, he graduated with distinction and achieved the accolade of being inducted into Phi Beta Kappa. He served in District of Columbia with Senator Bourne for a number of years. When Senator Bourne came back to Oklahoma, thank goodness, so did Joe. We got an opportunity to practice law together there for a while. He and I worked together, and it was a great pleasure for me. After practicing with us for a while, he went back to the university, had some private practice in between after that, or private business after that, and served 12 years as general counsel to the University of Oklahoma before he was named dean. He has now been dean for about 7.5, almost 8 years, doing a grand job at the College of Law. And Joe, it's sure good to see you as always, and welcome back.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be back.
Well, congratulations on your performance and the performance of the faculty and staff at the law school.
Thank you very much. It's something I take great pride in. The faculty and staff and students are remarkable.
Tell me about the size, just approximate size, of the faculty, staff, and student body. Yeah,
student body in our JD program, in our law degree program, is law school-wide about 500 students, around 160 in each entering class. And we have about 40 full-time faculty that serve that, and remarkable staff. Well,
I'm going to let Joel get a question in here in just a minute, but in days of what I read to be dwindling law school enrollment, your enrollment seems to be remaining very strong. How did you do that?
Yeah, it's been exceptional. As we've discussed on previous shows, from 2010 to 2015, half of the law student, over half of the students applying to law school diminished, evaporated. So half the market disappeared for law students in that 5-year period. And a lot of law schools suffered. Some have gone bankrupt. While that has steadied out now, there really has been a distinct set of winners and losers in this. And fortunately, we've been on the side that's done well. We've actually had to cap the size of our class, and we're one of the few law schools in the country where the quality of the students during that time period has actually gone up and not down. So we're proud of that.
How do you judge quality of an incoming law student?
Yeah, in statistical terms, it's their college GPA. It's also their standardized test score, the LSAT score. But we also started about 6 years ago doing individual interviews so that every student that we bring into the entering class has had an interview.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, Joe, I know that from the standpoint of the Board of Bar Examiners, which I've been involved with for many years, that the OU law school pass rate has been exceptional, and particularly during your tenure as dean. But let me ask you this, with respect to getting ready for the bar on one hand, and what's becoming more prevalent now, which is the attempt to integrate clinical experience of all types into the law school. How do you handle that? That is, taking the core courses to get you through the bar, and then going into some of the other programs which are now available that are more policy oriented and public service oriented.
Yeah, it's really a careful balance. And our overall pass rate, our first time bar passage rate this last time was 95%. And if you get one thing right, you'd better get your bar passage right. And so that's a testament to the kinds of students we're bringing in and the way our faculty are preparing them once they're in. And you hit on a great point, which is how do you balance the clinical experience, the experiential part, with the classroom teaching that goes straight towards a bar exam? And the answer, I think, is that they're not mutually exclusive. If done correctly, I think they actually integrate together in a way where there's harmony and not conflict between those two. And we've seen there's some really innovative new classes, some very creative teaching, some use of some teaching opportunities not present before, and we're seeing the yield in lots of ways, including our bar passage rate.
With respect to that, we all talk about improving the legal system, and I think one of the ways we do that is by the type of programs that you're now offering, in addition to the fundamental courses, contracts and criminal law and torts and those things. What do you think the most important programs are that the University of Oklahoma Law School are now implementing?
Yeah, so there really is, to me, with the overall goal of being one of the great law schools in America, to me there are really three pieces. One, it has to be a world-class education itself in the law. You have to also make it affordable so that students can have access to it and can also do the jobs they want to do when they come out and not just chase paying off student debt. And the third part of that is to get the heart right. To be a great lawyer, as you all know, and you're two of my heroes, mentor and heroes, and you have to be able to understand the human condition. One of the things we're very proud of is that we came in, and about 6 years ago, our students donated all in probably 4,000 hours of pro bono volunteer time. This past year, through a concerted effort, 100% of our incoming class volunteered to do pro bono, and we had over 23,000 hours of pro bono time done by our students. Obviously a record for us. And to me that speaks directly to not just the education they're receiving formally, but also understanding what it means to be a professional and what it means to understand the human condition, to be able to empathize and to help others.
Well, on the incoming students, the incoming first-year students, what kind of indoctrination or familiarization with the law study do you do?
Yeah, so we've done a few things. There's a basic course which is now required as you come in that teaches you the fundamentals of what the legal profession is. We have a part that talks a great deal about the heart and mind connection to the law. And we started a ceremony that was modeled after medical schools, where they have a white coat ceremony. And we put in place a ceremony that instead of a white coat, our students get a copy of the U.S. Constitution, and instead of the Hippocratic Oath, they take a pledge for the profession. And so from day one, it's the idea of not just serving yourself, but serving others.
Your incoming class is about 160, 165?
Correct.
What is your expectation of how many of those will actually complete law school and graduate?
Yeah, at OU Law, we don't weed out once you're there. We weed out in the selection process. And so our students that come in, average GPA is just under a 3.6. We hope it's a 3.6 GPA this year from undergraduate. Really high LSAT scores. every one of these students that comes in that we select in has the absolute ability to succeed. Over 96% of those that start with us graduate.
And do you, does the University of Oklahoma Law School emphasize in any way keeping the legal talent in Oklahoma, or is it a question of providing just a quality education and students go where they may from the standpoint of the opportunities available over the country?
Yeah, it's our state's flagship law school and our only public law school, which has a special mission to it. And so the attachment to Oklahoma is indelible. About over 65–70% of our students that graduate stay in Oklahoma and are committed to it. So you'll see no other law school like this in terms of the commitment to and the involvement and the engagement in the state itself.
One of the programs I know that your students engage in, I don't know that they do it in the first year, but is the moot court program. Tell us generally about that and how have your students been doing in competitions?
Yeah, it's a great and welcome question. Our students
Well, did I ask it like you told me to?
You asked it exactly like I hoped you would. It's exciting. So there are 203 law schools nationwide. Of those 203 law schools, the last several years we have cracked into the top 10. These are the competition programs where our students are on their feet arguing matters before a fake court. It is the primary competition that exists for law school, and of those 203 law schools this past year, after breaking into the top 10, we're now second in the country, and the top 16 teams in the country go to a national championship tournament. The past 2 years, Georgetown has won that, and this year, OU's team won the national championship, edging out Georgetown in the finals this year. So it's gone incredibly well, and it's a testament to the kinds of students we're bringing in, the emphasis we're putting on training lawyers, hopefully in the right way, and also the remarkable faculty we have that spend the time helping these students in these competitions.
Well, I know I teach from time to time at the law school and have students tell me that they have to be absent because of a court competition, and they come back with a smile on their face. So I know something good's going on in that regard. Well, let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk more with Dean Joe Harroz at the OU College of Law. You're watching The Verdict.
OU Law has a history and heritage that are unparalleled. At the University of Oklahoma College of Law, we empower our students to pursue the career of their dreams. We have the highest U.S. News ranking ever achieved by an Oklahoma law school. We are the first law school in the country to launch a college-wide digital initiative. And this year, our competition teams rank #2 in the nation. OU Law, generations of excellence, limitless possibilities.
The good life comes naturally to Tulsa, where nature's beauty is matched with an eye for aesthetics. A legacy of neighborhoods graced with lawns and landscaping and handsome homes. A place that seems to have patented an ideal lifestyle. Bank First is loyal to the quality of life Tulsa assures its citizens, to the priority placed on education, culture, and growth. Loyal to builders who transform raw land into residential charm. Developers who see opportunity and add vitality to Tulsa's economy. Bank First serves both enterprise and private lives that need a loyal partner. It's how we help nurture this city's very good life. Bank First. Loyal to Oklahoma. Loyal to you.
Welcome back to The Verdict. We're visiting today with Dean Joe Harroz, the Dean of the OU College of Law. Joel?
Dean, Kent was just talking to you about the moot court competitions, how vital it's been. I'm aware of several occasions in which you have been able to make arrangements to have the United States Court of Appeals for the 10th Circuit actually sit and hear federal appeals at the University of Oklahoma, and I think one of those occurred maybe a month ago. One of my partners actually had the opportunity to argue there, and I heard there were 300 students who attended, and I take it that's a real achievement, but I take it that's helpful to the lawyer who's looking into or the law student who's looking into the future.
Yeah, it is, Joel. It's a huge, we have this grand courtroom, which really is like no other for any law school in the country. And to have the 10th Circuit sitting in there, and for our students to be able to watch live oral arguments really has an impact on their education that they wouldn't receive just from reading the texts.
Joe, I know that the OU Law School has been dubbed Best Value Law School. What's that mean?
Yeah, to us, this is at the heart of our mission and who we are. And as I mentioned earlier, to me, there are a few great keys to being a truly great law school. One of those is highest quality, the absolute highest quality legal education you can provide. And second of all, there's at a cost where it creates access for students coming in. And when they leave, if they choose to go into public interest or some other area versus just a large law firm, that they can afford to pursue that. And so when we look at it, we were just named a top 10 best value law school in the country. So inside the top 5% of all law schools in the country, when you look at academic excellence and also the cost of doing that financially. And that really is the equation. The third part of that is the kinds of jobs the students get, and our placement rate for our students is stunning for careers.
Isn't there another piece to that, Joe, which is the problem of student debt? That is, and how do you deal with that? For example, I know that at the University of Tulsa, the average student debt is over $100,000 for students leaving after 3 years, which is very problematic, particularly when you're dealing with college student loans as well. Is that an issue for you?
Well, it's something we think about a lot. To be one of the great law schools, you have to be affordable and accessible. And we are one of the least expensive law schools in the country, public or private. And we worked hard on that. We actually froze tuition for 5 of the last 6 years. We've raised money from our alumni to make it more affordable. And you can never sacrifice your academic excellence, but you have to make it affordable, because if you don't, you won't bring in the best and brightest. It won't be a meritocracy. And you won't produce the kinds of lawyers that our society needs in terms of what they do with their time. So it's essential to who we are and what we do.
We're coining, I know in the course of this show, several terms that may or may not be understood by our viewers, or certainly aren't by me. But I know your law school has been named an innovative law school. Innovative law school in quotes. What is that?
Yeah, so.
And how do you do that?
Yeah, so the thing we were named as being one of the top 20 most innovative law schools in the country. We were also just recognized as the first law school in the country. We were just recognized formally this past week with the first award from Apple, the company Apple, being an Apple distinguished school, and it's the first law school in the country to have that. So what does all of that mean? First of all, innovating in law schools isn't that difficult because a lot of them didn't really change much for 70 or 80 years. Over the last 5 or 6 years, we've done things differently, in a very different way. And you can see it in lots of aspects of how we teach, but paper in our profession, as we all know, is dead. And yet most law schools are still teaching out of old textbooks.
I'm sure sorry to hear that, I want to tell you, but go ahead.
But it's great. So one of the things that we launched, and we were the first in the country to do this 4 years ago, was what we call the Digital Initiative. And that is that every student is given at no cost to them an iPad, so they have a common platform. We went to Inasmuch Foundation and built out a unique space, which is like no other. 8,000 square feet of our law library looks more like an Apple store than it does anything else. It has virtual reality machines in it. It's cutting edge, new kinds of classrooms. And then in between that, which is a key to this, we've built out a curriculum of 70 one-hour courses our students can take to make them technologically proficient as a student and also as someone in the practice of law or just professionally generally. And
are those courses for credit?
They are not for credit. Every student, as a condition of getting the free iPad, free in quotes, must do 3 a year. And what is really compelling is the average student in the first year did, you guessed it, 3 to make sure they did the bare minimum. Over the last several years, though, we now see the average student taking more than 6 a year, so more than twice what's required, because they see the impact that it has on giving them a competitive advantage in the marketplace.
Go ahead.
Well, when you talk about the marketplace, so where are you placing your students now?
So approximately 70% are in Oklahoma for the medium to long term. Other 30% go across the country and across the
what
world.
types of, I'd be real interested in what types of positions,
Sure.
just generally speaking, these students are taking.
Yeah, so it's a broad range. Now, we more so than almost 90% of the law schools in the country place more students as lawyers practicing law. And so we're really high in terms of where we place in the country around what they call full-time, long-term, JD required is the category programs. The other cohort goes anywhere from business, education, nonprofit. They go across the spectrum. And so you can see where our graduates end up. A good example recently is looking at college presidents in Oklahoma. When you look at that, if you just think about education, not practicing law, you have David Bourne in OU Law College of Grad. You have Burns Hargis at OSU and OU College of Law grad. Jim Gallagher, the incoming president, OU College of Law grad. Sean Burridge at Southeastern in that same category. So when you look at where our graduates go, many go into law, but many also become leaders in other areas as well.
How do you go about recruiting incoming students? What affirmative steps do you take?
Yeah, we take a lot, and it's both, it also leverages technology. So we have a full-time professional staff out recruiting the best and brightest. We start recruiting as early as 5th grade in terms of outreach to schools to see what the opportunity can be, but our concentrated focus is on college sophomores and juniors and seniors. And we do it through our recruiting staff. We also do it through use of a software system. It helps give us, we think, a competitive advantage versus other top schools in the country.
What percentage of your incoming class would be native Oklahomans?
Around 70-75%, maybe a little bit north of that at times, depending upon the year.
Well, isn't the recruiting pretty difficult? I mean, isn't there a stiff competition for particularly the best graduates?
It is, especially become really stiff over the last several years. And so, but what we've learned is that wherever the student's from, whether it's from Oklahoma City or Durant or across the country, international, what we found is if we can get them in to the College of Law to meet our students, to meet our faculty, to meet our staff, that a surprisingly high number of those students, even though they have better offers, maybe a higher financial offer from somewhere else, will come to OU Law.
What's on the drawing board for the future? We only have about a minute and a half left. What's on the drawing board?
So the next step of innovation, and we're always creating new kinds of classes in the classroom, not just the same old lecture format class. So there's a lot going on in terms of how we teach our students. But what to me is really exciting right now that has really begun to get traction are these non-JD classes. We only offered for all these years a law degree, a JD. What we found is there's lots of folks that would like to have a legal education but can't afford 3 years of time and can use it in their area. So we're rapidly becoming one of the leaders in the nation in online Masters of Legal Studies programs. And we do it in where you'd think indigenous people, native peoples area. We're doing it in oil and gas and energy, and we just launched it in healthcare. We are now in a place where 4 years ago we had 8 students, and this year we just this past semester enrolled our 300th student.
Wow. Joe, that's going to have to be the last word. Thank you. Those are all good words, I might add. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
We've been visiting with Dean Joe Harroz, the Dean of the OU College of Law. Joel and I will be right back after this commercial break.
There are now 11 million of us who live here and work here. I was 15 when I came here 6 years ago. I raised my family here. I drive my truck to my job every day. The only difference between now and 6 years ago, I do it legally. I wanted to. Because this is my home.
All children deserve a life of hope and love, but sometimes they experience a life of pain, neglect, and abuse.
When that happens, each child deserves all the quality assistance and representation that can be offered in our legal system. For more information, call 23-CHILD.
Oklahoma Lawyers for Children, helping to bring hope and love back to the lives of abused children.
You will always be Mom and Dad to me.
We are a very conservative family, and we believe in old-fashioned family values. We have a loving home there, and we love kids, and we have 5, 6 of our own. And but had no idea we were going to go into adoption, but it's been very gratifying.
You will always be Mom and Dad to me.
The Journal-Record is pleased to be a sponsor of The Verdict. The Journal-Record, since 1903, the best source of Oklahoma business news and legal information.
Welcome back, Kent Myers with Joel Wolgemuth. We just finished a nice discussion with Dean Joe Harroz at the OU College of Law. Joel, a lot going on down there.
There really is, and one of the takeaways I had, Kent, was that I know that across the country this issue of student debt for law students as well as medical students and others is overwhelming, and I don't think I know of any school that has done a better job than the University of Oklahoma Law School under Joe Harroz's leadership in making a legal education reasonable and yet first rate.
Yeah, that fits right into their designation as a best value. The best value balancing both the type of legal education that's given and the cost of getting it.
That's true, and they've been able to do it maintaining their academic excellence. As Joe said, they've got a 95% pass rate, which is really unheard of statewide and in fact on a national basis. So the students coming out, we have one of their students, we have a lot of their students we've hired in our law firm, and they are all A+. So.
Well, it's really a good story that we wanted to bring to you. We've got 2 websites I'd like to bring to you now, however. If you want to talk to Joe Harroz, his website is www.law.ou.edu, and of course The Verdict has a website of theverdict.tv. Thanks for joining us. For Joel Wolgemuth, we'll see you next week on The Verdict.